Hey folks, welcome back to the Lone Pine Tarot, or as I always say, welcome to Lone Pine Tarot for the very first time if you're brand new here. Thank you so much for joining me today for a good old-fashioned message from your ancestors. We're going to check in and see what they want to tell you today to help you out on your path. So, without further ado, let us choose our piles today. For our choices, we have 3 different tarot decks. We're picking with the 10 of Pentacles from each one because that is the card of family and legacy. So for pile number 1 over here on the left, you have the Forest of Enchantment Tarot. Here is your 10 of Pentacles, or 10 of Boons as it's known in this particular deck. We have a family gathering together and dancing and eating. Very beautiful. For pile number 2, you have the Ostara Tarot. And here is your 10 of Pentacles. We have kind of a fantasy scene. It looks like an octopus with a bunch of kind of half human octopus babies. Very cute. Almost kind of a grandfatherly grandchild scene. And last but not least, for pile number 3 here on the right, we have the Tarot of the Golden Wheel. And your 10 of Pentacles looks like a mother and father with a dog between them. So just a quick reminder, if you're pile number 1 over here, this is the Forest of Enchantment Tarot. For pile 2, this is the Ostara Tarot. And for pile 3, this is the Tarot of the Golden Wheel. But as I always say, you're welcome to pause right now if you need more time to deliberate and decide what pile you would like read for you. If you're new to Pick a Card readings, I have this little meditative moment I like to guide us all through to help you choose your pile if you don't already have your own methods. So close your eyes and take in a deep, cleansing breath. Imagine drawing light into your lungs as you do so, then hold it for just a few moments. Then when you breathe back out again and open your eyes once more, think about where they're drawn most first out of these 3 cards. What feels right in your gut or solar plexus, sometimes we call it in your intuition. And that is the pile I recommend you choose for your ancestor message today. But whatever your method, you can choose any way you'd like. You can drop down to the description box below or the top and comment when you're ready to find the timestamp for your pile. Click on it, and then I'll see you in our chat about what your ancestors want to say to you today. See you there. Hello there, pile number 1. Welcome today to your ancestor message reading. And of course, as you can recall, you were drawn to the 10 of Pentacles or Boons from the Forest of Enchantment Tarot, with the family dining together and dancing together at some sort of celebration. Very beautiful image of family. So, as we always do when we pick our piles with tarot decks, I'm going to put the card right back into said deck so that it's available for the message if need be for your ancestor. And we're going to start today with not only identifying who this ancestor wants to represent themselves as to you, so maybe you can get a little bit of a glimmer of recognition as to who they are, but some cards, of course, to ask what it is they want to talk to you about. What's the context of their message? So actually, let's start with the Archetypes deck because I want to ask them who they are first. A little bit of a greeting. So ancestor of pile 1 collectively, could you please come forward and give us a card that explains more about who you are as a person or how you want to represent yourself, please? Thank you. Okay, the Femme Fatale. So quite prominently, that just flipped out right away, pile 1, obviously, as you can see. And a femme fatale, as we all know, is someone who has very strong feminine energy, right? Let me read the text. It says, light attributes highlights the erotic energy of the feminine, opens your heart when your dependency is rejected. Shadow attributes, inappropriate use of sensuality, attachment to money, and power. Okay, so I'm pretty sure for most of you, this is probably a female ancestor coming forward for all of you today. Most likely, because they chose this card to represent themselves, they were someone that was very comfortable in their sensuality or sexuality, things like that. They also probably were someone who was, I would say, attractive. I don't know if maybe that they were like a dancer or they had some sort of job that made use of feminine beauty in order to attract either like customers or like attention to what they were doing, okay? Or it could also have been beauty in the way of not even necessarily using their own body like, say, a dancer would. It could possibly be like, some of you I'm hearing like an artist, like I don't know if they drew feminine forms a lot, like feminine models. There's something with that coming through, okay? Someone who really was focused on, and I don't say this in like a way of vanity, but they were focused on beauty a lot in their life and really constructing and developing their own sense of style and their own beauty and their well, I was going to say comfortability, but it's not really a word. Their comfort with it, okay? So, let's see, she's wearing a black dress and she's holding a fan to her face, which almost looks like a Japanese fan to me. I don't know if maybe they were from Japan or went to Japan or had an interest in like Japanese culture, is what I'm also hearing, okay? But very beautiful card. We have a strong female energy coming through, was not afraid, and maybe even for her time, she was a little risque, as we would call it. Maybe for her time, it was not accepted for a woman to quote-unquote behave the way that she did, but I get confident energy off of this. So it was like, she's like, well, I did what I did. And that's the way that, you know, like, why would I not share my beauty with the world? Okay. Why would I hide away? Why should I not be a confident, beautiful woman is kind of the energy I'm getting off of this person. So very cool. I like this ancestor. She seems cool. So let's also grab the tea leaves, and then we'll do the tarot spread as well. And then we have 2 different oracle cards at the end. So let's first do the tea leaves here. So Ancestor Femme Fatale of pile 1. Strong, powerful female energy. What would you like to tell them today? What do you want them to know? What are you here for? Thank you. Okay, we already got 2 off of that one. And then, of course, we will draw from the other deck I just had up here. I always draw this deck in 2 halves because it's quite big. Okay. Let's unveil the tea leaves. So the first one is Teardrops, a great personal sorrow. So I don't know if you've been struggling a lot with something lately, pile 1. You lost something, you lost a loved one, you lost a job, you lost, or maybe even just, you don't even know exactly the reason. Maybe it's just a general sorrow, depression of some sort. Then we have Ladder, climbing towards success. Okay, a little bit of a success message as well. Then we've got Mountain Road. You were on the road towards success. Okay, so now success has been mentioned twice, both in the Ladder and the Mountain Road. So for sure, this femme fatale ancestor of yours, pile 1, wants to come forward to talk to you about something that you're trying to do to achieve success, or some struggles that you've been having towards success, however that is defined for you. Of course, some of you that might be getting your own business off the ground, finding another job, getting a promotion. It could even be things that we don't even necessarily associate with success, like, you know, success in terms of relationships, you know, like finding a lover that, like a long-term relationship that we're really drawn to, that works well for us and we're treated well, things like that. Or it could be success in terms of maybe even just a goal that you have in mind, a wish. Right? So let's grab the tarot spread, of course, which will give us even more context. Thank you, Ancestor of pile 1, for coming forward and telling us more. How would you see the situation at hand with tarot, Ancestor? Thank you. You know, and that's another thing I'm feeling about this Ancestor pile 1. I get the feeling that she was a go-getter herself, and I think maybe that's why. I wonder if some of you are almost like she's one of your spirit guides and she helps you with success, because that was a lot of what she struggled for or dealt with in her life when she was alive. It's something along those lines. Okay. What else do you want to say, female ancestor? Let's see. We've got card number 1, the 2 of challenges or swords. Okay, so interestingly, we have a mirror pop up, which makes me think of the theme of beauty again. But specifically, the 2 of swords is often about a choice that we have to make, or having a dilemma between what do we want to do? So I think maybe you've been struggling with, especially with this being the inciting incident card, I always call the first card that pops out. It's kind of like what sparked this thing that your ancestor's talking about? You've been dealing with recently some sort of deliberation, not knowing which path to take, like kind of like Mountain Road, right? Not being sure what road to take. Or it's like some obstacle came up and now you have to face this choice and you're like, what do I do? What the heck do I do? So I think that's the feeling or the emotion drawing this ancestor forward into helping you. She's like, okay, I'm going to come forward. I'm going to come help you. I'm going to tell you what to do, right? Or not tell you what to do, but I mean, maybe given how confident she was, maybe she was quite bold about telling other people what to do, and I mean that in a positive way, but maybe that's why that popped out on the way I said it, but advice. That's the nicer way of saying it. Okay, then we have the Nine of Wands reversed. Okay, yes, we're tired. We are running out of determination. That's often what the Nine of Wands reversed is about. Okay, she's trying to manifest something. She's trying to protect herself. You can see she's got this circle of light around her, and there's these kind of creatures or monsters in the background of the shadowy forest, but it's like our defenses are running low. We're kind of tired. We're running out of steam. Okay. So definitely a lot of frustrations are coming out. I see that. We have then the Lovers reversed, which is funny because, you know, we had the Femme Fatale, which talked about sensuality and erotic energy, right? Lovers reversed can be interpreted in two different ways. You know, as I always explain each card as they come out on my channel, because, well, that's my preference. The Lovers, I always say, is traditionally something to do with disharmony in a relationship, because we see lovers, we think of relationships, right? But it can also mean, kind of similar to the Two of Swords, the inability to make a choice. So definitely quite a dilemma going on here, and especially being the third card here, pile one, heart of the matter, I call it. That really seems to be what the issue is I don't know what choice to make. I don't know what to do. Okay. Maybe you've even been asking for a sign from your spirit guides and your ancestors, like, please give me this sign, then this reading is this sign for you then. That's what she's saying, okay? Then we have the White Heart or the Fool reversed, okay? Being wary of taking risks. Now, this is, I think, where the advice comes in, especially with the fourth position card, and then, of course, the last one I'll draw as the outcome. Because right now, you're on that indecision path. You're tired. You've been deliberating over this choice for a very long time. I'm also hearing it's been really difficult on you. And now we're at the point past present energy into near future with the Fool reversed. Be wary of taking risks. That is the main message of the Fool reversed, especially in the near future position. It is someone trying to start out something new. There's usually the Fool is someone that is beginning a journey, right? Trying to start something up. So I don't know if you're trying to like make something begin, or like you're trying to create a business, like trying to start a new relationship, something along those lines. And you're just like, I don't know where to go or what to do. And so she's saying, okay, advice number one, be careful. Okay, so it seems like there might be a little bit of a path of some, I don't want to say landmines because that's really drastic, but, you know, it's kind of like watching someone walk through a field with landmines. You got to be careful about where you take your step. That's the Fool reversed. It perfectly encapsulated in a metaphor, okay? So, two, the Fool is someone that is not immature, but inexperienced with something. And that is where the message of the reversed Fool comes out too, is be wary of your inexperience. So I don't know if maybe she's saying part of what would help you make a choice is gathering more information and gathering more experience before you make that choice that you're having some issues and struggle with towards your path to success. It could also mean that maybe in your indecision, there is a risk here of you making a drastic choice and taking a risk. And she's like, well, wait a minute, just hold on. Okay. Don't take that risk. Be careful. Let's look at the outcome card too. And then we have, oh, very cute. We have the Six of Pentacles. She is covered with bunnies. That looks like a really, really awesome time. Wouldn't you love to take a nap with bunnies? Anyways, sorry. I got distracted by the cute fuzzy bunnies. All right, so Six of Pentacles as the outcome is equality. It is charity. It is fairness, especially when it comes to distribution of wealth and resources, because it is a pentacle suit, which is earth in tarot. So what your ancestor is saying here, pile number one, excuse me, I'm going to adjust in my chair if you hear any squeakies. Okay. What your ancestor is saying is that on the path you're on, you're going to get to a place of equal distribution of wealth. And also, too, when you look at this card, it looks like safety, doesn't it? Because she's been in a really cold place for a while. She's barefoot. She has barely any clothes. She just got a dress and, kind of a handkerchief scarf over her head, right? A hood. And she's doesn't have a lot. Okay, she's cold, but the bunnies come along and they're like, hey, we're going to help warm you up. So it's kind of almost like a message of some sort of relief coming, some sort of aid that you've been lacking, okay, in the form of, not literal bunnies, but, in that way, it makes me almost think that this ancestor is saying that this form of help for what you've been struggling with won't come in one big package. It won't be something very obvious. It'll be something that comes along and is metered out to you in little small packages, maybe even in subtle ways that you don't necessarily expect, just like we think of when we think of bunnies, right? They're small, they hide a lot, they're kind of unnoticeable, right? So I wonder, and I'm sure the other oracle cards this ancestor will help us pull will explain a bit more about the advice, but in either case, you are on a good path towards overcoming the thing that you're tired with and you're trying to make a decision with, okay? You'll finally get that rest. You'll finally get that relief here with the Six of Pentacles. But yeah, she does have that message about being wary about taking risks. So as long as you take the safest path, okay, maybe that's even what she's giving you advice on which choice to make, is take the safe path. Take the gentle path. If you think about the choices that are before you right now, and you're not sure which path to take the path that is safer. Okay, that is what she's saying. And that is, literally too, yeah, don't take risks, and that will get you to this place of comfort and equal distribution of the resources that you're looking for. Okay? Yeah, let's look at the other oracle cards, and I'm also using the Wild Harmonics deck, and whenever I've been using this deck lately, I read from the guidebook itself, just because the guidebook, as I always say, explains the card a lot better than I do. So Ancestor of Pile 1, any other advice you'd like to give to them on this situation? Can you give us one card, please? Thank you. A lot of round decks today. Okay. Earth of Spirit, nurturing boundaries, and we have an egg. So we, of course, once again think of new beginnings, like the Fool, like egg, was also representative of birth, new things. Pretty sure, like I said, I think a lot of you are trying to get something off the ground that's new. Maybe it's even related to a literal birth of something. Maybe you're looking for having children, or, birth of a business, birth of a relationship, things like that. Let me read and find the entry for this card with the egg. Okay. So Earth of Spirit. Let's see. I apologize if it takes me a second. This book is... Sometimes it's difficult to find the entry. I believe... Here we are. Earth of Spirit. There we go. Nurturing boundaries. As the earth energies ascend into the spirit of creativity, they bring the empowerment that is limitation. So here's the meditation. Boundaries, creative circumstances, capacities, limits, and the intuition that it is time to grow beyond. A card that shows me boundaries can be helpful, healing, and give me a place within which to unfold. It also reminds me that there comes a time to crack the shell and cross the boundaries into the unknown world. Okay, just like a baby chick breaking beyond the egg, right? A painting is made all the more effective by its framing. It is perspective and context that give deeper significance to the forms they contain, each a realm to explore and to recognize when I have outgrown them. So the inquiry, or the question to ask yourself, is, what boundaries do I need to create, and which ones do I need to move past? So I think another thing is, too, Pile 1 is, I was thinking about this intuitively when I was reading the entry here from the guidebook, is that this ancestor is saying you're holding yourself back in ways you don't need to. Now she did say be wary of risks, take the safe route, but taking the safe route doesn't necessarily mean to not still go forward. Yes, a path can be fraught with dangers, it can be fraught with risks, right? But staying can also be fraught with risks, okay? And so she's giving you just a little bit of a push here to break out of your shell. I mean, literally, look at the egg, right? To break out of your shell and move beyond that boundary that no longer serves you anymore. So here's a question to ask yourself, Pile 1. What are you holding yourself back from? What's holding you back within internally? Okay, so I think that might be actually where a lot of this indecision is coming through. Like we saw that not only with the Two of Swords, but the Lovers reversed, if we read that as the traditional like choice card, that traditional interpretation of it, is think to yourself, you know, why am I so indecisive? What's stopping me from making a choice today? What's stopping me? What am I deliberating about? And really analyze that. And think about, is this really something that should be stopping me? This indecision? Or could I make a choice today and go forward with a safe route? Be wary of risks. But that doesn't mean that you can't still go forward, okay? Let me look over the guidebook again. See if there's anything else intuitively that pops out for you here. Also, too, when it talks about a painting is made all the more effective by its framing. So it makes me almost think, too, pile one, that maybe the way that you're viewing this situation, you're framing it maybe in a little bit of a way that could be adjusted. Your spirit, or sorry, not your spirit. I keep thinking she's a spirit guide, too. She might be. Ancestors can be spirit guides. I think for a lot of you, she might be. But your ancestor, like, is saying you could frame this in a different way. Instead of framing it as, I'm struggling to make a choice because I'm afraid of moving into the future and the unknown and the risks that it would take. Think of it as, I am brave and I'm going to set forward despite there being a risk or unknowns, because I deserve to attain the goal or the wish that I'm going after. Okay, like, it's, or something like that. Whatever works best for you. You're going to know better than me as the tarot reader, but you know yourself best more than I do. But at the same time, pile one, it's like, she's saying just frame it differently. There's something you're not looking at quite correctly here in the way that you're framing this decision and the path forward. Because there are good things that you're looking for here at the end. You're on the path to the outcome, I think, that you're looking for. You've got the Six of Pentacles, which is fantastic for, like I said, distribution of wealth, charity, comfort, safety too, especially with this particular interpretation from this deck's artist, right? But at the same time, it's like you're holding yourself back in some way. So it's your ancestor giving you that little push. I mean, look how many cards she gave you about success. Push. Climb the ladder. Move forward on the road, and you'll find what you're looking for, okay? So, last card is from the Lantern Oracle, which is, I always gush about it whenever I use it, so I'll refrain from gushing about it, but I do love this Oracle deck a lot, especially with Ancestor readings. Anything else you want to say, Ancestor of pile number one? Our femme fatale? Well, another thing to ask, too, in Ancestor readings pile one is, how would this ancestor deal with the situation? If you recognize who she is, if you're like, oh, that's my grandmother, or oh, that's my great aunt, or whatever, insert person here. If you knew her in life, or at least heard stories about her, how would she have tackled this situation? What would she have done? That is a perfect question to ask with Ancestor readings, okay? Right here. She is saying, ooh, woman supporting woman. Number 22, together we can transcend our individual limitations. Okay, so another part of this is, well, A, she's saying, I support you, because, you know, I mean, although I'm cognizant that, you know, not everyone watching my videos is always a woman, even though, I mean, statistically, I look at my statistics, most of you are women, but I understand other genders here, of course, watch my videos. So I interpret this to mean not just, you know, woman, right? But your ancestor here is a woman, and she's saying, I support you, number one. But number two, I think this card is a piece of advice to look around you and see what other people in your life might be able to support you, and you support them in their endeavors as well. I think maybe you're tackling this a little bit too much on your own. I almost wonder if it would be a good idea for you to try to maybe team up with somebody on this goal that you're trying to achieve, or maybe to gather advice on what choice to make. Okay, I wonder if maybe part of your fear and your indecision is because you feel alone. You feel like, I don't know if I can do this alone. Maybe that's the question you keep asking yourself. Can I do this alone? And the question is, well, it's irrelevant because you don't have to do it alone, okay? You can find support out there, pile number one. I almost wonder, like, just for the example, might not apply to every single one of you, of course, but say you're trying to start a business and you're like, well, I want to do this thing, but I have no idea, like, where to even start. I don't even know, like, I have, I could do this, I could do that. Try to find if there's someone else in that industry that's already done that thing. Okay. And maybe this is a hint that it is a woman potentially that could reach out and help you. Maybe a bit of a mentorship a little bit, or even friendship too. In either case, there's some sort of community support or support from other people that you're not leaning on that you could. I mean, even when you look at the bunny here, maybe that's where we talked about maybe, like I said, it's like a help that might be doled out in ways that are small packages that you might not expect. A community. It's like a whole entire, I believe you call a group of bunnies like a warren of bunnies, or they live in warrens, right? A whole entire warren of bunnies. It's not just one person freezing alone. They're all working together to keep each other warm. Okay, so that's a community aspect I didn't even recognize before with this card till this popped out. So look for community. Look for people to help you, okay, and vice versa. Even if it's a whole entire thing where, like, you all don't know what you're doing, at least when you're doing it together, you don't feel so alone. So look out for that. Look out for those groups that might be able to help you and support you, okay, and vice versa. So that is your ancestor message reading for today, pile number one. I hope that it resonated, and of course, I hope most of all that you liked it and it helped you, number one. That's what's most important. If so, please like the video itself. Please comment down below your story, as I always say. Even just, I like to read your comments, but it's also helpful for other people in your same pile to hear people from similar situations. Maybe that's even the community we're talking about here, okay? Maybe even just in the comments section down below. So you don't feel so alone, okay? So that you share your stories. And, I think that's where a lot of healing comes from, is when we're vulnerable with others and we share our stories and we see the similarities between ourselves and others, okay? And then, of course, please subscribe if you haven't done so. That just helps support me a little bit, supports the channel, the dream of spiritually healing people, and providing free readings for both you and others in the future. And as is our tradition, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye, pile one. Hello there, my lovely pile number two. Welcome today to your ancestor message reading. And of course, as you recall, you were drawn to the Ostara Tarot for your pile today with the very whimsical and cute image of, almost looks like an octopus grandfather with half human grandchildren. Very fantasy scene, right? I appreciate it. I love fantasy. So as we always do when we choose with tarot decks, I like to put the card right back into said deck so that it is available for the message. So there we go. We've got the Ostara Tarot. And to begin our ancestor message today, we're first going to ask, kind of in greeting to the ancestor, who they are. And then also more about the context of what they want to say to you. So we have our archetypes deck here. Ancestor of pile two, could you please come forward and sort of identify yourself in some way? Maybe to have pile two recognize you. Okay, we have a queen. Wow. A lot of feminine energy today in our readings. Pile one had a femme fatale and you have a queen. So right off the bat, pile two, I'm pretty sure this is a feminine energy. Okay. It could be, that doesn't necessarily always mean literal biological gender. Everyone has both feminine and masculine energy in my belief, but I'm leaning towards most of you, this is a female ancestor, okay? And I'll read the text. It says, light attributes, radiates the regal feminine, uses her benevolent authority to protect others. Shadow attributes, becomes arrogant when authority is challenged, controlling, and demanding. Okay. So, actually, some of you, this might literally be, of course, it depends on your ancestry and genealogy that you've done, but maybe some of you, this is literally like a noble ancestor of some sort, going back to whatever nobility is a part of the country that your family is from, or maybe multiple countries. I know a lot of us are from different places too, right? Or it could mean that this ancestor is representing herself or themselves this way because even if they didn't have like literal noble title, they always carried themselves in a very graceful, regal way. So maybe dressed kind of fancy, maybe was very proper with their manner or the way that they spoke. Maybe they spoke also very eloquently. It could also be that they had an affinity for nobility. So like maybe they were very into studying the history of nobles from different countries or something like that, or they were really focused on that in some way, or some sort of special interest they might have that was related to nobility, something along those lines. But in general, like I said, strong feminine energy, very kind of upstanding, carries himself very well, very, I also get the sense that they were very intelligent, this person, okay? So, and some of you that you might not even recognize who his ancestor is, because I said, like, sometimes ancestors come through and they're from, like, way back, and we don't even know who they are, unfortunately, but sometimes, you know, that might be a more recent ancestor that you did meet in life, or at least heard family stories about. So, look at that. A lot of strong feminine energy today with our ancestor readings. Beautiful. You love to see it. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to draw your tarot cards next, as well as your tea leaves ancestor, our queen ancestor. Could you please tell pile 2 what it is you want to talk to them about today? Thank you. What is it you're coming forward for? Okay, drawn to that one. I also get the sense that she wasn't very outspoken. I think that might have been part of, or I should say they, not very outspoken. They had more of a quiet demeanor, but that didn't mean that they didn't have power in their words. Quiet but commanding, kind of, is what I'm hearing. Or what's that phrase we always use? The iron hand and the velvet glove. That's a very, very, very good metaphor to use with this person. Beautiful. Okay, let's look at the tea leaves first, and then we'll also, of course, look at your tarot in a moment. We have key, successful outcome to your problems, and sun, happiness and well-being. Okay, so I'm very, very happy to announce pile 2, your ancestor, the queen, is coming forward today to tell you there's something really good coming your way. And as a tarot reader, I love these readings. Because what it means is I get to tell you good news. Okay, beautiful. Love that. Thank you, Queen Ancestor. Let's, of course, though, get some more tarot cards to see. So it almost is kind of like a blessing reading. We're going to see what blessing's coming forward. So anything else, Queen Ancestor? How do you see the situation from inciting incident to end? Thank you. I also want to say this person was really well read. I feel like they... Strength reversed. Okay. So that was the first card. Inciting incident. Strength reversed tends to represent that we were, past tense, were in a place of a lack of strength or power. How fitting you have a powerful feminine energy come forward today, right? A queen. Literally, you know, a queen would be a strength upright. So I think this ancestor is talking to you from the perspective of someone that has the strength that you were looking for or that you've been trying to find. With whatever it is has been bothering you. I think maybe you've been having a problem lately, and she's telling you, of course, you're going to get a solution to it, hence the tea leaves that you got, but at the same time, it's like she's also maybe telling you to be more confident in yourself with something. Okay, and then I need just one more card. Thank you, Ancestor. Pile 2. So a queen, beautiful. And then we've got... Page of Wands reversed. Yes, so we have confidence pop up again because we have a fire card. And a page is a youthful energy. It is an explorer energy. It is someone who is trying to explore their confidence with something or their creativity with something. But reversed, it's in the way of that being a blockage. Okay, so not only did we have a lack of confidence in something, or willpower too, we felt like we couldn't... Like, we didn't have the confidence to explore or express something. Okay. And actually, I'm a dummy. I need one more card. Okay, never mind. I was like, oh, I think I've got all cards. Okay, we'll draw one more. There we go. But wait, there's more. Okay. Okay, now we've got 5. Excuse me. Number 3, the star. Okay. Having hope or faith in things. So she's telling you, pile 2, despite all of this that you've been lacking confidence in, you feel like your willpower has been drawing out, you don't feel confident in something, maybe it's even just yourself, if not necessarily a goal. Please have hope or faith in what it is you're looking for. We have literally, she's reaching for the moon here through the cosmos. Very beautiful. Then we've got the Emperor. Okay, interesting. We have such a strong feminine energy coming forward, but then the Emperor is the card of masculine energy in its best aspect, especially upright. An Emperor upright is someone who is authoritative. They have control. They have power. They are protective. Okay, so I almost wonder if... Well, number one, it's that strength or lack of willpower or strength we saw in the beginning here turning into more confidence and strength, okay? But another intuitive thing coming out is I almost feel like there's kind of a secondary ancestor popping through, especially because not only did we have the Queen, right? But we have another kind of noble title coming through with the Emperor, which is masculine. So I wonder if maybe that it's her husband... Which, if she was nobility for sure, then that would have been obviously like a king, okay? Or I suppose it could be other nobility, like we think of a duke and a duchess, you know, or insert title here from whatever country your family's from, right? But, something about, yeah, she's talking about a masculine figure too, and then, or they, I should say, and then last but not least, we have the Page of Pentacles reversed, and in a blessing reading, I read, outcome reversals. Sorry, I'm adjusting my chair. I read outcome reversals as cards of the things that are going to improve, right? So I think what's been going on here for sure is you've been struggling in some way with overcoming an obstacle related to... Well, the main part of it, she's saying, is getting more confidence in yourself to reach or have hope or faith in something. But I think the thing... like, in terms of the material understemming all of this is with the Page of Pentacles reversed as the outcome of what's going to improve is something you're trying to explore related to career or finances or home or health, okay? That's how I read the Earth Suit, Pentacles, and Tarot, okay? There's something that's going to happen that's going to unlock your hope or your faith that in this thing, in achieving this thing, like happiness, well-being, successful outcome to your problem with key, right? And that will inevitably lead to you feeling like you have more power and control that you didn't have before over the situation with the Emperor, and is going to fix this reversal in the end of the Page of Pentacles and turn it upright. Okay? So, are these foxes too? One moment, I'm going to look at this. Well... I can't tell what canine this is. They almost look like foxes, though some of them don't have the darker or like the painted snouts. Sometimes they kind of look like wolves. I was asking because there's a fox here in your Page of Wands as well. And when I see repeated imagery like that pile too, sometimes that's a symbolism. And of course, when we think of foxes, we think of that which is clever. Okay. So cleverness. And then too with wolves, I always think of loyalty if they are wolves, right? Loyalty, like to the pack. So something maybe with a community element here, as well as needing to be clever about something or something happening in a clever way. But in either case, pile two, yes, be whatever aspect of your life right now that you've been lacking confidence in, that you feel like you're losing the willpower or the strength to continue pursuing, that's what's going to be fixed. That's the main thing I would say to take away from everything I've said so far, okay? You know, and two, we have the sun here as an imagery. And the sun is behind her in this card. And the sun is the pentacle itself. It almost looks like I believe that would be a Chinese coin, technically, looking at the language on it. Although this is kind of a fantasy deck, so sometimes it's not always completely analogous to real-life cultures. But the sun, happiness and well-being, it's like it's going to finally dawn. Like an understanding of some sort. Maybe that's where the fox's cleverness comes in too. It's like an understanding that dawns on you and you're like, oh, that's how I need to get through this. And that's what will reinvigorate your hope or your faith and then your power and your control over what's happening. Okay. Let's grab the next decks here. That, of course, will give us more insight. Now, when I use the Wild Harmonic Oracle, I like to use it, at least lately, with the guidebook, because I feel like the guidebook is really beautifully written, and I think it's... Oh, well, that was quite fast. I didn't even really have to shuffle that long. So, long story short, yes, I'm going to read from the guidebook for this card, and the one that you received, pile 2, is Air of Spirit, Hidden Ally. Okay, so she's telling you that there might be someone helping you that you don't expect. Maybe that's that pack thing I saw with the wolves with loyalty. All right, and we have a lot of spirit cards today, too. That's another thing happening with our community. Pile wanted a spirit card, too. Let me try to find it here. We have Air of Spirit, beautiful. Hidden Ally, and I'll read it off. It says, as the interconnected intelligence ascends into the spirit of creativity, conversation with the guardians and guides unfolds. And the meditation says, guidance, synchronicity, life path clues, spiritual detective work, divination, and collaboration with my secret alliance of invisible cooperators. At each twist in the path, I find signs that point me to that which will best serve my fulfillment in a given situation. Whatever forms I look for, whatever forms it comes in, I am supported by a vast array of beneficent, cooperative energy. Whether it is Whether it is an inspiration for action or a cause for pause, whether it is an unfolding of understanding or a reminder of the unknowability of some things, to see guidance I have but to open to it. And the inquiry, or the question to ask yourself, says, how is guidance coming to me now? How am I opening to receive it? And how am I putting it into action? Okay, so pile 2. What this ancestor is saying is, Queen Ancestor is saying that you are getting help and guidance, maybe even from them, that you have not been noticing. But, of course, this deck guidebook also mentioned things like spirit guides, I would also say like angels, things like that, and ancestors too, right? That could be reaching out to you even beyond just the Queen Ancestor, giving you signs of synchronicity and giving you things that are signs that will help you on your path. So when that comes up in my readings, when we talk about synchronicities, pile number 2, if you're not familiar with the idea, it's basically things that keep popping up in your life that you notice are kind of, it's not necessarily a feeling of deja vu, though sometimes it can be, but it's things that pop up in your life that are, they're odd in the way that they show up. Like, for example, imagine that you are thinking about pizza. I know this is really strange, but just go with it. Like, imagine you're thinking about pizza. Man, I would really like pizza today. And then you get home from work or wherever you're out during the day, and you realize someone in your family just spur of the moment bought pizza for dinner that night without telling you. That's a synchronicity. Or perhaps you have been doing meditation, and you see in a meditation, a bluebird. And then while you're walking to work the next day or walking somewhere, you see a really out of place bluebird, and you're like, oh. Those are signs and synchronicity. So there's something this ancestor is saying that you're not noticing. There's a synchronicity that would help you. Sometimes we do see them in the actual reading as well. So we do see a synchronicity with a lot about the sun. There's a lot about sun symbolism, okay? We have not only do we have a sun here in the Strength card, literally on her shoulders is the sun and moon. So there's a sun over here. You have the sun card, and then in your Page of Pentacles, as I mentioned before, which actually was reversed, let me reverse that again. She's got the sun kind of dawning behind her as the pentacle. So sun symbolism would be really key to look for as a synchronicity. I do see like canine animals a lot too in this particular spread. We have the fox here, and then I think these are either foxes or wolves. I couldn't quite tell. Let's see if there's anything else. Even looking at the pattern of the queen's clothing. There's nothing really synchronous there. So I would say canine animals and the sun are synchronicities, symbolisms to look for. And they're part of this divine assistance here with Hidden Ally. That's what's going to help you and give you the sign that will reinvigorate your faith and your hope to get you back on a better path in terms of your confidence and towards the goal that you're trying to manifest, okay? It even kind of looks like a sun here in the hand of the ally. Kind of floral, kind of a sun. It's got kind of a radiant look to it. So also as a piece of advice, pile 2, I would almost try maybe doing some meditation if you have not been doing so lately. There's a lot of really awesome guided meditations on YouTube if you would like a guided one, especially like I would recommend either Ancestor or Spirit Guide. Maybe Ancestor specifically because this is an Ancestor reading, but Spirit Guide guided meditations can be great too. And I think that would provide you with whatever is said to you during that meditation with even more clarity than what I'm providing you right now. It's almost like this Queen Ancestor is saying, we want you to seek out and talk to us directly, okay? To give you that key towards the happiness that you're looking for with this situation. Let's grab the Lantern Oracle too. Speaking of light, right? Lantern Oracle. What else do you want to say, Ancestor of pile 2? Right there. We've got broken dreams. Number 23, only you can accept or reject your dreams. So we have the imagery of the, she's not even looking in the mirror. She's looking kind of down, upset. She's crying. But she does have a reflection in the mirror, and it's broken right over her eye. Like she's finally seeing through something, okay? And we have an egg here, which is, of course, we associate eggs with new beginnings. We associate them with new life. Maybe something that you were trying to get off the ground or start and it didn't work out. Hence the broken dreams. So I almost wonder, pile 2, if there's some sort of broken dream you've had recently that you thought was all for naught. That you thought because it failed once or it didn't work out yet, that it never will. But at the same time, it's like she's saying there's more here if you keep pursuing it and don't just let it go. Maybe that's what shattered your confidence, pile number 2. Now it's clicking. This is one of those readings where it clicks towards the end. I'm like, oh, now we see the whole picture, right? So I bet you that's it, pile 2. I bet you that's it. There's something that happened that shook your confidence, and now I know it's because it was a broken dream of some sort. You thought, there's no way this is going to work out. I already lost once. I feel like I've lost everything. I feel like I have nothing left. Just like, you see the picture of the woman in this card, right? She's crying. I don't know if you can see the tear streaks on the camera. She's picking up a piece of the broken shell. It's even kind of icy, too. We see blues. So we think of like having the blues as depression, being sad. But that mirror imagery is interesting. Sorry, I'm just looking at it a bit off camera here just to see clearer as the tarot reader, but yeah, and it's right over her eye. But she's finally seeing clearly. She thinks everything is shattered, but she finally sees this glimpse that makes her understand that it's not as shattered or scattered as she thinks that it is. There's still hope in something. Speaking of the star, right? Hope and faith. There's still hope in the thing that you're trying to achieve. So if there's anything you take away from this reading, pile 2, sorry, I kind of paused there just to look everything over, and I was kind of looking more closely at the symbolism of everything. But in a roundabout way, we got to the final message. And what the final message from this ancestor is, pile 2, is whatever it is you think you failed at, whatever dream you think has been broken, keep going with it, because there is success and happiness for you with that dream if you keep your hope, your faith, and keep moving on with it. As difficult as it might have been to have failed or to have lost, there is hope in trying again. Okay, I don't know if maybe this ancestor dealt with something like that in her or their life. I almost wonder if you do recognize who this ancestor is, pile 2, maybe she or they had some sort of problem where it's like they were trying to achieve a dream and they lost everything, or they completely failed and then they picked up again and then it worked. And maybe that's why they're reaching out to you, because it's with ancestor readings, the question I always like to ask viewers to ask themselves is, what would this ancestor, if they were in my position, what would they do if they were me with this situation? Okay. Because that's part of the beauty of having ancestors that we look back to, is we have guideposts for our own path in life. What would they have done? What did they do? That's always a great question to ask yourself with ancestors. Okay. So, like I said, if you take anything away from this reading, there's hope, there's happiness, there's success. You just have to keep going. And remember, hidden ally, you have more people that maybe necessarily aren't human, right, helping you than you think you do. Okay, you have them behind you, even if you don't recognize it. Although, like I said, meditate, look for synchronicities that'll help you recognize it even more. Okay, and remember that quote, only you can accept or reject your dreams. Okay, a dream isn't out of your hands ever. It's always in your hands. It's just up to you to decide whether you keep it there or drop it. That's what that card means, okay? So the ancestor's saying keep it, don't drop it. All right. So that is your message for today from your ancestors. Thank you so much for tuning in, Pile 2. I hope that it resonated. And of course, most of all, number one, I hope that it helped you. That's what matters most with these readings, right? So if so, please like the video itself. Please comment down below your own story. Please subscribe to Lone Pine Tarot if you have not done so already. As I always say, that just helps me out a lot. Tiny little button click away for you, half a second, which keeps the dream of the channel alive and providing spiritual healing to people, as well as providing more free readings for both you and others in the future. And as is our tradition, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye, Pile 2. Hello there, Pile number 3. Welcome today to your pick a card reading about an ancestor message from them to you. And of course, as you recall, you were drawn to the very beautiful Tarot of the Golden Wheel for your deck today. So, as we always do when we choose with tarot decks, I like to put the card right back into said deck so it's available for the message from your ancestor if need be. But to begin the reading today, I first want to acknowledge who the ancestor is. I want to look into how they want to represent themselves to you, because sometimes, especially if they're an ancestor that's more recent and you recognize who they are, knowing that can help give more context to the reading and also help, sometimes you even might think of like synchronicities or extra messages from them, from examples from their life. So to begin, let's grab the Archetypes deck and Ancestor of Pile 3. Please come forward and let us know, how would you like to identify yourself today? What archetype card? Now, we've had a lot of feminine energy today. Pile 1 was Femme Fatale and Pile 2 was Queen. We'll see what you get today, Pile 3. Okay, I get the sense of more of a quiet sort of person. Right there. A visionary. Look at that. Beautiful. So visionary is your ancestors card today, pile number 3. And the visionary here says light attributes. Capacity to envision what is not yet conceivable to others. Willingness to proclaim a vision without regard for personal gain. Shadow attributes. Selling insights to the highest bidder. Compromising your vision to make it more acceptable. Now, what I love about the visionary card, pile 3, in this particular deck is it's often a card of two different versions of visionary, right? On one hand, we think of a visionary and we think of someone who sees very far in terms of the things that they want to accomplish or the things that they think are possible, right? We think of, a scientist who can think beyond the horizon on something that they want to invent to help humanity. That's one example of a visionary, right? But on the other hand, we also see visionary as someone who actually can see things in terms of spiritual abilities. Okay, we have the tangible, more left-brained type of visionary. We also have the more spiritual, intangible, right-brained kind of visionary, right? So this ancestor is, some of them, depending on your situation, pile 3, as these are more collective readings, right? This ancestor for some of you could have been someone that was like a scientist or someone that saw something very far-reaching in terms of the tangible world. For some of you, this might also be an ancestor who was a visionary in terms of spiritual ability, right? Because even when you look here at visionary, it almost looks like a crystal ball that she's looking into, right? Now, I'm not getting a specific sense of gender off of this person. I don't know. It could be that collectively a lot of you, this is just half and half. It's a male ancestor, half and half a female ancestor, right? It could also be somebody that embodied a lot of the energy of both, because I think my personal belief is everyone has feminine and masculine energy, okay? So we'll see with the other cards. It might come out more as to who this person is in terms of other defining attributes like that. But, yeah, I also get a lot of selflessness off of who this person was, especially for those of you who recognize this ancestor if they're more recent. So let's grab more cards. So we're going to start with tea leaves and tarot today. So ancestor of pile 3, could you tell us more about what you want to talk to them about today? What is it you're here for in terms of message? Thank you. It's also possible, and this is the third way you can define visionary pile 3, I didn't even think about this till now, that they were visionary in terms of being artistic. Because oftentimes when you're an artist, you need to be someone who is a visionary, right? Literally your whole job or passion is to envision things and make them come to life through whatever medium you use, right? So some of you actually could have an ancestor that's an artist coming through. They saw far beyond the horizon. That's what I'm hearing. Beautiful. Thank you, ancestor. Oh, and actually, a card had fallen out when I grabbed the deck off the side of my desk, so I'm going to take that one as well. Let's reveal the tea leaves, and then we'll do the tarot cards as well. So, oh, that's funny. Okay, I literally was like, oh, there was a card left over on my desk, and then the desk comes out. All right, thanks, ancestor. Good sense of humor. Pay attention to your work. So the card that was on the desk, that was left on the desk, we got the desk card. Okay. Very funny. Yeah, pay attention to your work. All right. And then we have the money path. A path with money is waiting for you to find it. Okay. So could be an ancestor that worked very hard and also was successful, or at least tried to be very successful with money in life. Though, of course, these are also messages to you, not just about themselves. And then we've got tiger, doing something risky and taking a chance. All right. And of course, when we think about tiger in terms of personality, we think of someone who is very, and I don't mean ferocious in a negative way, but someone that was very bold, okay? Just like it says, doing something risky and taking a chance. So this ancestor is, yeah, they're someone that didn't just sit on their laurels. Good sense of humor too, like I said. They're also someone that maybe was very career or like money oriented or focused. Okay, and I think that's part of why they want to come forward today. Usually when certain ancestors come out pile 3, it's because they want to tell you something about that's relevant like to their life and what they were focused on. Okay. I almost wonder if this is a business person, like a businessman or a businesswoman. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's how they manifested their visionary skill. Okay, so ancestor of pile 3, our visionary. Can you tell me more from inciting incident to outcome, the situation you're talking about for them? Thank you. Along with some advice, of course. We always have advice. Okay. Oh boy. Okay. Yep. So these were the first 3, and then these were the last 2. So we'll take those to the top. All right, so card number 1, we kind of already saw. We have the 5 of Swords. So pile 3, 5 of Swords, often is about conflict of some sort or a harsh battle that we've been through. We look here and we see 2 combatants, right? We have someone that is weeping and lost the battle, and maybe actually even more than one because there's 4 swords otherwise. And then we have someone that's victorious. But the catch is with the 5 of Swords, they don't look very happy about how they won, do they? He looks kind of forlorn, doesn't he? Right? Because the catch with the 5 of Swords is, I've won, but at what cost? And that's why I always call it the card of harsh battles. So I almost wonder if you succeeded at something, or there was something that you achieved, but you're wondering what it cost you, or sometimes the 5 of Swords can also mean that we were just in conflict with somebody else, or even a group of people that was not lighthearted. It was something more harsh. And then we've got the 2 of Wands reversed, which actually, you know, it's funny that this particular deck always has a unique interpretation with the 2 of Wands because it's 2 rams butting heads, right? We think of conflict, we can think of people fighting. Okay, and that's this particular interpretation, speaking of fighting. So I don't know if you were fighting or butting heads with exactly just one person. Maybe it's related to work, hence all the business-related cards you got here from the tea leaves. But in general, the Two of Wands reversed in a traditional interpretation can mean we are conflicted about how we want to go forward with something. Okay, we have an ambition, but we're like, I don't know if I want to go forward with it. I don't know what plan I have for it. I'm not sure exactly how to tackle it. Okay, so very interesting image popping forward here. The number 3 we've got, oh, well, whoops. There we go. The High Priestess reversed, being the heart of the matter, needing to listen to your gut and your intuition more, okay? High Priestess is all about, well, she's also about mysteries, too. That's another interpretation for her. And so it's like, a reverse, she can mean like solving a mystery. Maybe there's something related to this conflict and this career-related stuff that you are trying to figure out. You're trying to solve the mystery. But it can also be a double-edged sword of... or I always said double-edged sword because that's a negative connotation, but it can be a double meaning of needing to listen to your intuition more. Okay, and especially to facing kind of right, looking towards the future, which is, speaking of visionary, right? Facing us, and then we've got the Page of Wands reversed, looking towards the past to the left, and a Page of Wands reversed is often about needing to explore our creativity or our confidence more. A lot of blockages here, pile number 3. I think that's why this person's reaching out. They want to help you clear these blockages. And then last but not least, we've got, oh, good outcome though. Beautiful. We have a positive outcome. The 10 of Wands reversed, relieving your burdens. You can see how he's almost tipping over. Even kind of the, it's, one of the beautiful things about this particular deck is I love the way that colors are depicted. So we have like reds. So we think of burden and stress and anger and even of course we think of, the color red with the color blood, right? Like we've shed blood, sweat, or tears for this thing and it's so heavy and we can't handle it anymore. But reversed pile 3, there the burden goes. It goes off of our backs. So number 1 thing this ancestor wants to tell you, whatever it is you're burdened with regarding this situation, you're on the path towards it being relieved in the end here, okay? It's going to be relieved. You're going to have that burden off of you. So that's a beautiful first sign. There's something good here at the end. However, there are some blockages along the way there that need to be resolved that your ancestor is coming out to talk to you about. Looking to, it's interesting because I think a lot of the blockages are things from the past because you have a lot of left-facing cards here, especially with the Page of Wands and the 10 of Wands. They're both facing left. And the way I read tarot is facing left means looking towards the past. Okay. And it's almost like you... yeah. They're not obstacles in terms of things in your way in the present or in the future towards relieving this burden, but they're things you need to emotionally or mentally process to make your path towards relieving the burden easier. Okay. So you will get the success. Oh, that's what it is, pile 3. It just clicked. You're going to get the success and the relief of burden as the definition of that success that you're looking for, but you have to do something risky first or take a chance towards that money path that we saw here, okay? And the reason why you need to clear up these blockages first is because they are what is blocking you from taking that chance. And that's why this visionary ancestor is coming forward. They're saying, I see this future for you. You need to take this chance, but you have to process all of this first in order to get there. So, okay, number 1, and I think what this really is all caused from here, because of the inciting incident card is the 5 of Swords in the beginning here, pile 3, is that there was a conflict of some sort, okay? There's something that you fought hard for. Maybe that's where the hard work comes in with the Death card. You fought really hard for it, and it was like something that cost you a lot, though, at the same time. Okay. Maybe in your career you've sacrificed a lot or whatever the goal is that you're trying to achieve in terms of finances and money. And you're like, well, I technically won, but where do I go from here? Because it's not exactly a feeling of success. There's not a triumph here. It's a feeling of, I did what I set out to do, but ... Okay. All right. And it's weird how that would cause you to feel afraid of taking risks. Maybe you're afraid of falling into the same path. Okay. Same thing too, if there especially was like a literal conflict with somebody too, because we did see that with the Five of Swords and the butting of the heads with the rams, right? Fighting other people. Like maybe that it knocked your confidence in taking risks too. Maybe someone kind of got under your skin a little bit with that conflict about the way that you handle things, or like your belief in your ability to do things or be capable of things. Maybe it's a bit of a self-esteem problem that came forward because of this situation. And so it stopped you from making plans for the future with this. It stopped you with that Two of Wands reversed. And so your ancestor is saying to not feel a lack of confidence. Either if it was another person involved, what they said was not true, okay? You're not incapable of whatever it is you're setting out to do, pile number 3, okay? And on top of that too, like just discard what they said, okay? Discard whatever that person said. Or if it was a situation and not necessarily a person, same thing, pile 3. Sorry, I paused for a second. There was a message coming through. It's really odd. They keep mentioning something about this anguish. And they're asking, well, why are you sad over your victory? I think because you feel like the cost could have been maybe that person, like maybe you lost a friendship or a closeness with them, but like it was supposed to happen in the end, pile 3, or like to continue on with that person wouldn't have been good anyways. I almost, they're saying holding back. They might have been holding you back too, or the situation at hand was holding you back. Okay, but what you need to do, pile 3, is, so keep planning for the future with this goal, okay? Don't let it knock your confidence. And then the High Priestess reversed as the core or the heart of the matter is very key. Because she is all about, like I said, believing in your own gut intuition, okay? Following your own path in terms of what you feel is right. Okay. You need to gain more, and then too, especially with the Page of Wands reversed right after that, that's another card of needing to gain more confidence, okay? So this ancestor is not necessarily giving advice specifically on how to gain more confidence, but they're saying that's what you need in order to free these blockages to get to relieving the burden that you're wanting to let off of your back, okay? The Page of Wands 2 reversed can also mean, as a slight piece of advice, it can also mean exploring our creativity. So I don't know if maybe there's something about creative expression that would help you in a therapeutic way with this. Sometimes people write, paint, make music, things like that. Whatever is your creative outlet, that can be maybe a little bit of a pathway to help you figuring this all out or getting all your feelings out. Interesting. I'm going to draw your next card here, and we're using the Wild Harmonic Oracle today, pile 3. And that that deck is really, really good about giving advice. And I'm going to read from the guidebook because lately I've been reading from the guidebook from this particular deck because, I don't know, it's written really, really, really well. And I think it expresses the meaning of the card a lot better than I can, even just as the tarot reader. So your Wild Harmonic today that came forward was Water of Air, Collective Insight. Okay, so let's look for the entry here and read it off for you. And I'm also having some issue with this reading pile 3 because I feel like I'm having like a little bit of a struggle like thinking or speaking, which is odd because normally like for those who watch my readings, usually I'm pretty good about keeping talking, but Gemini energy, right? And so I almost wonder if that's like a message about you. Like, there's just a lot of confusion or not being sure what to say. Like, that's the feeling I have of, like, after whatever this conflict was. Like, I don't even know what to say. Maybe that's something you tell yourself a lot with this situation. Or I don't even know what to do. So we have Water of Air. There we go, collective insight. Okay, so I'll read this off. It says, as the flowing feeling of life ascends into the interconnected intelligence, the significance of external resources is manifest. Questioning, listening, answering, conversing, and opening to the possibilities that other minds bring my own, a card of ideas made better by letting them play with others. Opening to others' minds is opening to the realms beyond my mind and can reveal the whole which is greater than the sum of its parts. At times I feel a missing piece within my inquiries. Whether this is a missing answer or even better, a missing question, I can find them by connecting myself with others. Recognizing how I have pieces for those who have pieces for me is the great joy of reunion and gratitude born of honoring our interdependence. And the inquiry or the question to ask yourself is who am I drawn to connect with, to synergize our energies? So that card, pile 3, is an ancestor saying here that you may need to look outside of yourself for help as well. If you're finding that you still have a lot of anguish over whatever this 5 of Swords was about, I always recommend, and I say this with complete understanding in mind, that therapy isn't available to everybody, right? Not only for availability of therapists, it's really hard to find one nowadays, I've heard, and then on top of that, for economic reasons, it's not cheap either for a lot of us, of course, depending on the health system in your country, wherever you are, but even so, even if that's not available to you, you can even find therapy in things like I said, exploring creativity with the Page of Wands reversed. Also, this card is about other people, right? So I don't know if there's a group that you could connect with that might help talk this through, or even just other people just on a single one-on-one basis, pile 3. For example, I don't know if there's a really trusted friend or family member you have that you could talk to about the issues you've been having with this. I don't know, maybe even the relieving of the burden is just to talk about it. Maybe you've just been stuffing it all inside. And there's something that other person or that group of people will say to you that will unlock these blockages, and you're like, oh, you're right. Wait a minute. Okay, now I get it. And that will help you relieve the burden to help you get through with the successes you've been looking for, like we talked about with Money Path and the Desk, okay? So it's almost like a reading of your external goals. Yes, your ancestor is acknowledging there's external goals that maybe you're struggling achieving. But they're saying we need to almost break the bone a bit before we set it. AKA, instead of fixing the goal part, we need to fix the internal, emotional, mental, and spiritual stress part in order to free it up to flow. Okay, like when a creek is blocked with leaves, sometimes we have to take our hand or a net and reach in and pull the leaves away, AKA the anguish we've been talking about, right? Or the other internal struggles, to let the water flow easily. They're telling me it's something that's readily available. It's something that's easily achievable. So don't doubt yourself. It's just that you have to unblock these emotional things before that money path and the things that you're seeking flow to you. So if you've been wondering why you've been having trouble reaching your goals lately, pile 3, it's because of all of this. So maybe you didn't even recognize that at first. You're like, oh man, I don't know why this thing isn't, why don't I feel right about this? Or why don't I feel happy? Why don't I feel, why am I not over this thing? It's very possible that it's because of unaddressed emotional matters. Okay, and then the last card is number 29, Radical Self-Acceptance. You are perceived the way you perceive yourself. Okay, so we also have a bit of a self-esteem message from this particular ancestor. And I think there's some sort of guilt I'm feeling for you, pile 3, or guilt that you feel inside about maybe this conflict or this whatever, whatever it was that you felt like you won, but at what cost, or whatever the harsh battle was over. You feel a guilt over it of some sort. You feel like you didn't deserve it. Maybe there's a bit of an imposter syndrome here too, where you feel like, oh man, I'm not good enough for this. It screams to me a very, a situation where you deserve it and you've earned it. It's just you have to get out of your own way. That's what I'm hearing from this ancestor. You have to get out of your own way. Okay? And you have to feel and believe in yourself a little bit more with this, with radical self-acceptance. Okay? And interestingly, too, she's wrapped in red. And red actually also is the color of confidence, right? She let down her shield. She's just comfortable. She's wrapped in red. She doesn't have to defend herself. She just is. And she believes in herself, not feeling like she has to... Maybe that's part of the issue. Maybe you've had to defend yourself a lot lately too, pile 3. In which case, don't even feel like you have to defend yourself. Just go after what you're going after. Okay? Because you deserve it. You deserve what you're looking for. You just have to reach and believe in your ability to take it. Okay? You have to get out of your own way is what I'm hearing. Maybe the butting of heads is the butting of heads with yourself. Okay? So look for that outside insight. Know that a good path with lots of success is waiting for you. And relief of burdens. Remember with that 10 of Wands reversed. But you have to gain more confidence in your own gut, your intuition. More confidence in pursuing your ambitions, okay? And making plans for the future towards that path of success that's waiting for you, okay? So, self-esteem, rely on others, okay? Talk to others about this, who you trust. And like I said, get out of your own way, you know? And sometimes that's the hardest thing in life, pile 3. It's easier than it sounds. Or, sorry, it sounds easier than it actually is. Okay, because this ancestor is saying, I see this thing for you. It's waiting for you. You just have to believe that you can take it or that you can reach it. And I think that's what this conversation with someone else or a group of people will give you is reaffirmation of you seeing more of your worth than you do now. Okay? So that is your message from your ancestor today, pile 3. Of course, I hope that it resonated, and most of all, I hope that it helped you, number 1. If so, please like the video. Please comment down below your story. Maybe, and I always say this when this pops up too, when there's advice to talk to other people, even just commenting in a YouTube section, other pile 3s might have similar situations, and you can talk to each other, and even just anonymously, like in a YouTube comment section, and that can gain insight too as well. Just vice versa, you helping them helping you just by talking about your issues and that vulnerability, right? So yes, comment down below if you would like to, if you're drawn to, and of course, please subscribe if you have not done so yet. That just helps me out a little bit. It's just a tiny button click for you, which helps me immeasurably with keeping the dream of the channel alive and providing spiritual healing for people, as well as providing free readings for both you and others in the future. And as I always say with our tradition, I wish you a wonderful, healing rest of your day. Please go after your dreams, pile 3. You're plenty deserving of them, right? Please believe in yourself, okay? Last message. And I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye, pile 3.